Growing up in South Africa, we always had an abundance of stone fruit, like these gorgeous plums, apricots and peaches. And sometimes over the summer there's just a glut of excess fruit, so what do you do with it? Turn it into dessert like today's gorgeous plum and orange tart. So this tart will have a short crust pastry base. The filling will be a conserve or jam, complimentary, and plums. And where the oranges and lemons come in, we're actually going to add that to the pastry itself to give an added extra citrusy tang. So plums are really easy to deal with. Just take a little knife and there's a natural crease in the plum. Run it along there, twist, and off you go. There's lots of different varieties of plums, but one thing's for sure, that they are really, really full of vitamins. They're part of a group of fruits and vegetables that are red and green in colour, that are full of antioxidants called proanthocyanidins. And these are all incredibly good for you for your general health and well-being, but especially for strengthening heart and vein tissue in the body. So just carry on going until you've got about 8 or 10 plums, depending on the size of your dish. So now we're going to make our short crust pastry, but before you do, just prepare your tin first. So this is a pastry tin, a loose bottom pastry tin, that I have greased with butter and sprinkled over a little bit of flour. So short crust pastry, quite simply, is plain flour mixed with butter, and to bind it together, tiny little bit of cold water. So of course you can do this by hand, but it's equally easy doing it in a Magimix. This takes a matter of minutes, so don't over process it. So in goes 220 grams of plain flour, and then 110 grams of cold butter, just cubed up, and we're going to pulse this until it forms fine breadcrumbs. This literally is just a matter of a minute. Okay, noise. So that is already done. You can see how quick that is. To get it to bind together, we're going to add a tiny bit of cold water. Don't add too much because your pastry will go brittle and be very difficult to roll out. But before we do that, we're going to add our citrus zest. So the zest of an orange and the zest of a lemon. This is going to contrast beautifully with the fresh plums and plum conserve. You can also add a little bit of vanilla powder if you'd like to, but really the zest is enough. So we're going to start with a tablespoon of icy cold water, blitz it, and when the dough comes together in a ball and it chases around the S blade, it's done. Stop pulsing. So it's in a bowl, it's chased the S blade around, and it's done. So very quick. So because we've worked this pastry quite a bit now, we're going to have to cover it in cling film and let it rest in the fridge for about half an hour. It will stay in the fridge about 3 days and will be absolutely fine. And you take it out and bring it back into almost room temperature before you roll it out again. So just to make it easier, put a little bit of flour on your work surface. And barely handling this, you want to just bring this into a disc. Don't knead the pastry, you're literally just bringing it into a disc. This will make it easier to roll out when it comes out of the fridge. I've taken out the pastry from the fridge about half an hour ago, just to allow it to come back to room temperature. Still got a slight chill off of it. I've got a large pastry tin ready. If you prefer to roll individual tins, that's absolutely fine, just grease and flour as normal. So sprinkle your work surface with some flour. You don't need the pastry sticking to it. We want to roll this out into a long, thin sheet to line our pastry tin with. And it's a good idea to cover your rolling pin in a little bit of flour too, just to help prevent it stick. So roll your pastry in long, smooth strokes, turning it a quarter turn after every 3 to 4 strokes. This means that your pastry will just roll a little bit more evenly for you. And you're just going to carry on going until it's a few millimeters thick. So I've lined the pastry tin with our orange and lemon flavoured short crust pastry. You don't need to bake this case blind, we're just going to pop the filling in and it'll bake for about 35 minutes. So take a jar of complimentary jam, so something like a damson, a plum. I've used blackcurrant before and it was gorgeous. And with the back of a spoon, spread out the jam. And then we're going to squash our plums cut side up into the jam. So this is a lovely way to enjoy a fruit-based dessert. Much, much healthier for you. Even if you have a big dollop of cream on the side, overall it's still much better. And there we go, we just have enough plums. So this will bake for 35 minutes at 170 degrees. And just to show you one I made earlier, this will be the end result. Lovely, light, orange and lemon flavoured crispy short crust pastry with caramelised plums in the middle.